presentation kind of blows me away. And so now, one of the things Michael said was nobody in the U.S. is currently manufacturing these products. Well, that is about to change because of one of the people that's sitting at this table today. At the end of this table is Valerie Johnson, who is the co-owner of D.R. Johnson Lumber in Southern Oregon. Valerie, thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Chris.
And Thomas Manis is the Dean for the College of Forestry and the Director of the Oregon Forest Research Lab at Oregon State University. Francis Brunet is the Dean of the School of Architecture and Allied Arts at the University of Oregon. And Bart EBERWEIN is the Executive Vice President for Hoffman Construction. So Valerie, you guys are about to start creating these things.
They're busy building the presses right now at our shop.
So how did you get interested?
Michael Green, who was brought to Oregon by Thomas Manis to put a presentation in front of industry people to just show the opportunity here and see if anyone was interested in helping get this project off the ground.
So you're running your family's lumber company, which had been a traditional lumber company, and you're taking a risk by kind of, moving into this new technology.
We have been making glue laminated beams since 1967,
Okay.
so we have over 40 years experience in laminating wood, but this is an entirely different situation. It's not only a new laminated product, it's launching into an entirely new way of construction.
Right. So Thomas, how did you find out about this? Why did you bring Michael to Oregon? How did you decide this was something that we should all know about?
Well, Chris, this technology was invented in Central Europe in the mid-90s. I just by coincidence happened to be there.
Have you got him on the mic? You guys, can you hear him? No, yeah, so just pull your mic just a little bit closer.
How about now?
Better?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So, Chris, I was in Central Europe in the mid-1990s when this technology was invented. The basic idea there was that they wanted to build taller buildings, and in Central Europe, principally Austria and Germany, they were used to building even small buildings with concrete, and they wanted a thick wall structure. And over the last 20 years, they realized that with these materials, they can build taller and taller. And actually, Michael has been one of the leading voices to talk about building tall and actually doing it. And so I've been engaged in this for quite some time, but coming to Oregon 5 years ago from British Columbia, I realized that we have an incredible opportunity to grab here. You know, the one message that I really would like to talk about today is that if we really care about rural economies and jobs in rural economies, the most important number that we should be looking at is how many people are we employing per 1,000 board feet. You know, for 20 years we've talked a lot about how can we get more.
Will you say that again? Will you say that again? I want to make that confusing.
So how many jobs can we get for the harvest that we make now? How many jobs per 1,000 board feet?
Okay.
Instead of focusing on how many board feet, how can we get more out of more forest, focus on the employment multiplier, which can really make a difference in rural economies. And this has the opportunity to do that.
So Francis, you're running an architecture school. How did you guys are doing some very interesting collaborative work with Thomas. How did you get interested? How did you get involved?
Well, I have to give a shout out to an incredible colleague in the audience, Judith Shine, who we hired as head of architecture. Many of you know it's a School of Architecture and Allied Arts. It has a lot of programs. And the architecture program and many of the allied programs are basically one of the top programs in the country in sustainable design and have been for many, many years. We hired somebody who actually understands how you connect engineering, forestry, and architecture together. And she did a competition with her students that was Grow Your Own City. And you can imagine growing your own city is probably not coming out of steel necessarily, but could, and came out of wood. She started to collaborate with Thomas in forestry and some of the structural engineers, and a program was born. And so it's been amazing.
Well, and on our call, you said, as Valerie mentioned, this is new technology. So if we're going to become one of the leaders, there are going to be a lot of new things that have to kind of get put in place in terms of infrastructure and in terms of skill sets. And so one of the things you're really hoping to do is to build the architects who can design for this material, yes?
Well, I think the issue is to get all of us, right, whether they're engineers, technologists, and architects, to really think about this. And we can actually provide that force, I think. This is an amazing moment when we think beyond our own units and think collaboratively. Basically, this is industry, research, university partnerships, and you can't beat it.
So, Mr. EBERWEIN, you guys build huge buildings all over the world. Talk to me about what you see as the opportunities here and the obstacles.
We got a perfect system right now. We can build buildings that are tall, they're safe in earthquakes, they're climate controlled. It's perfect. So what do you do when you have a perfect system? Everybody out there that runs a company knows you blow it up, right? I mean, you've got to think about it differently if you want to make a leap, if you want to go faster and better and cheaper. So what we need to do is sort of blow up the way we're thinking now, that tall buildings can only be built with concrete and steel, and start thinking about how to get code officials to change the code. That's a big obstacle right now, to get over the myth that heavy timber is going to burn down, because the fatter that big, the pictures up there, the fatter that is, the longer it's going to withstand heavy heat. So it's really a very, very safe in a fire. We got to prove that it can stand up in an earthquake, equivalent with these other things. So we got to kind of blow it up and start over. And I think with architects like Mr. Green, because we got to convince architects you can design with this stuff.
So, Bart, when on our phone call, you also talked about, because you're also, the nonprofit that you serve on is?
It's called the National Forest Foundation.
Okay, so we saw a video a little bit earlier about how some work is being done in forests in eastern Oregon. How does this tie into the needs we have in our forests as well?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I really enjoy talking about that stuff. It's an extracurricular. National Forest Foundation. There's 200 million acres run by the United States Forest Service, and a lot of times we wring our hands and think, what can we do for the forest? But really, it's what they can do for us. Clean water, recreation, the benefits are. So we don't have real healthy forests right now. So there's another win in this, and it's another reason that Hoffman gets excited about what this can do for Oregon. Because we've got some really unhealthy forests, especially on the east side of the state. So catastrophic fire, or no more mills. John Day becomes a one and only. You don't have something to do with this small diameter logs, which we're going to have in Riddle, so we're going to make these things. But if that, then what happens to the forest, right? They turn into housing development. So what you have, everybody's used alliteration. You had polarization that was talked about earlier with one of the speakers. And now we have peace and collaboration, and that will lead to prosperity. If we can clean up these forests, start using some of that bug kill, make healthier forests, create jobs, it's a quadruple win.
Great. Valerie, so you guys are about ready to start producing. Okay, this takes off. It becomes a real win for your business.
From your lips to God's ears.
There you go. All right, so what else in terms of skill sets and infrastructure will have to happen for you to kind of go to scale?
We think of something more almost every day. We have to have a sales network, some sort of a distribution network, so that the people in Bart's industry can find the people like us that are making it. And they need engineers and architects to tell them what it is they need to buy from us, and we need to know, because every piece will be custom made initially till there's a market of some standardized buildings. So networks on both sides of manufacturing, including shipping. These are huge, heavy pieces of material. So it may take some special trucking, it may take some special forklifts, it may take some special cranes. It's going to take a new way of thinking about bringing a new building product from its source all the way through manufacturing, sales, marketing, to its conclusion on the job site. And if you think about the impact of the construction industry, every aspect of that will be involved in launching this new innovative way of building.
Okay, so then come back to Bart. If I'm another timber company around the state, Why am I saying I'm not jumping into that? What's my hesitation?
Well, I think your hesitation is that it doesn't catch on.
Your fear that it might not catch on?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we've got to create markets for this. Yeah. We've got to start thinking tall building wood, and that's a paradigmatic shift.
Okay. So, Thomas, I hear a rumor that you got something special up your sleeve, and that maybe I'm the only one who knows about it. So, do you have any desire to share that with anybody here in the room?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I do have an announcement today. To really move this forward, this is a knowledge business, and it's going to take research. It's going to take a new workforce. This is not in the business of producing wood products. It's in the business of producing sustainable buildings in the factory, and those sustainable buildings are then exported to other places. Oregon can either lead this initiative, or we can supply raw materials to another state or another place that leads this initiative. So today, we're announcing the launch of the design and construction of a new Oregon Forest Complex and research laboratory to provide the research expertise and the workforce for this new industry in partnership with University of Oregon's College of Architecture and Allied Arts. Our design process starts today. Our fundraising campaign has been sort of ongoing for some time. It's a $60 million project. We're well on the way to raising the $30 million private funding that we need to move this forward. And we have in the governor's budget $30 million bonding for the construction of the building if we're successful in our private fundraising campaign, which we will be. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Opportunity.
The thing that's so exciting about this to me is that I think it's a huge possible win for the future of this state if we can figure out how to put all the pieces together. We're going to move to our topic, and the transition piece is another short video about my favorite topic, the removal of juniper. It's actually really critical and important to the region that it's happening in. So let's roll that.